Welcome to another edition of TWM Talks. This week, my guest is Luce from Socials, or Lucy Cave, or Lucy from Progress Wrestling. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. You okay?
Yes, not too bad, thank you.
Good.
So we'll get straight into it. First of all, for those who don't know you, don't know how you come into wrestling, just sort of explain your backstory.
So for me, I just started off as a fan. I was going to shows. For the last sort of year, I've been working on the social media side. So I was doing that. I was in that transitional period of going from like being front row to going backstage. And then obviously a lot of people wouldn't know this, but my day job was working in museums, dealing with like diversity, safeguarding, and all that. And obviously, with everything that's gone on, it's been really vital for me to be in this role in Progress because I can bring a lot of expertise forward. And like it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Like I was just focusing on like the social media stuff, but luckily, and I'm actually really glad that my sort of experiences out of wrestling can now be used to make it a better place. So yeah, that's my sort of background with.
Okay. So when did you start getting involved with Progress as an actual job?
With sort of what happened with like speaking out, John asked me to come on board. He knew my experience sort of like working in museums and stuff and what I was doing. And for 4 weeks, I was essentially like locked in my little office, like you see here, working 6 days a week, 12-hour days, just researching, making sure I was up to standard on, like, because I was a level 3 safeguarder anyway,
Right.
just making sure I was sort of like refreshing stuff, making sure I knew about stuff within sports. And it sounds really cheesy when I say this, but because I've worked in museums in the past, you've got to know everything, because if you're dealing with someone that's really passionate about that subject, you've got to know how to answer everything.
Yeah.
It's just how I operate now. Like if I need to know something, I've got to know every single thing. Otherwise I just can't function. Like if someone asks me a question and I don't know it, then I'll be like, oh my god, like on my computer for the rest of the night, making sure I know everything.
Yeah.
And those sort of 4 or 5 weeks were hard, especially like with just sort of knowing what was going on in the industry, like what people were revealing. Because obviously as a fan, you don't expect the people that sacrifice their bodies to entertain you to be put in such a bad environment like that. And so obviously got the policies done, went back to work, and then they were like, can you come back? We need you. So yeah, I've been full-time now for about 2 weeks in Progress. And yeah, still a lot of work to be done, but at the same time if I can focus all my time on making sure things are safe, then it's like half the battle.
Yeah. So what's your actual job title?
So I've been given the title of Head of Communications.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fancier. So it's essentially I'll be doing like admin,
right,
and with the safeguarding stuff as well. That's sort of where my job role comes into everything.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest things in any sporting industry is the lack of sort of paperwork that's in place. Like a lot of the things that I've put forward with like paperwork and that was already in place before, but you can't just say that. Like you've got to have proof that it's being done.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's essentially my title now.
So when you kind of came into Progress, everything changed for Progress. It's essentially a different company now. It's a different logo. Even that, literally down to the logo, everything has changed. So just kind of talk me through that process and why it was done.
I think for myself especially, like it had to be a new sort of not like a new look and all that, but for everything that's gone on in the industry, this is a new era for everybody. And it's a perfect time now for everyone to realise what they need to do and how they need to present themselves as a company. And for me, like, Progress are at an advantage a little bit, because obviously where I was a fan, I could say like things that I didn't like when my friends were at shows, what I knew that they didn't like. And just something as simple as the logo. Like, for me, the logo, I never used to buy like t-shirts or anything like that just because I didn't like the logo. There was like, I literally bought I've got like 2 Progress shirts, and it's been because the logo's been about that big on them. Like, they've been so tiny. And yeah, it was just like, I feel like for me, one of the key things is making sure it is fresh for everyone, including sort of like the new people coming in, like new storylines, new policies. Like, literally, you got to burn it down to build it back up. So that was the key thing for us.
So for you, when Progress does restart, be it either the end of this year, next year, whatever, what will a show look like to you, and how will it run backstage that's different to now or to the past?
I think for me, one of the key things, like, obviously COVID pending, it's like want shows to be as they were, but at the same time you want it to be like you've got a wellness officer there, you've like a safeguarding officer will be as common as having a therapist, like a sports therapist on site, like to get out, like when someone's out their arm or something like that. Like, that would be as common, like, because at the end of the day, like, even like if you forget about like speaking out and all that, performers are going through such a sort of a weird time. Like, for like 15 minutes they're running on this adrenaline, and like they don't know how to like sort of operate, and it's just like on this high. And it's important to have someone there to be like, was that all right for you? Did anything happen? So like, I dread to think like there are still people that are afraid of speaking out because they're scared of the repercussions. And that's something I don't want anymore. I want people to feel like they can, even if it's just something that they think might be silly, but for us it's like, no, we've got to know this kind of stuff. Even if it's just like, oh, I don't like how they put ice in the bucket in the ballroom, like something like that. Like, it's just like, the wrestling is no different from any other job in this world. And I think a lot of people need to start realising that to move forward, make the industry better for everyone. That's just sort of my hopes and dreams for us.
If we kind of go back a little bit to when Speaking Out started, as a fan, putting the Progress side of it to one side for a sec, as a fan, what did you make of all that when it was coming out? Because these are people you've watched and paid money to see, you know.
I was horrified. Like, I was purely horrified. And it's one of them things where it's like, it was such a collective sort of grief that we were all going through, because at the end of the day, you couldn't believe what was happening, because it was just so systematic and horrific what everyone was going through, and it's still going through. And the fact that these people have been so brave to come forward and put their careers on, their lives on the line, because being so public, there's not there's no one to sort of deal with the fallout with you. Like, they're dealing it with by themselves. And like the bravery of some of these people that have spoke out, like, I commend them. Like, it's like incredible stuff that they've done, and it would be such a disservice, like, even if I wasn't in this position now, it would be such a disservice to them for no change to happen. Because out of all the people, like from audience members, staff members, anything like that, the wrestlers that have spoke out want to see a return to the industry. So it'd be such a disservice if it just went back to normal. Like, it really...
I mean, I spoke to Alexis Falcon recently, and literally her words were, why are we, the wrestlers who spoke out, being punished? We want to get back in the ring. It's not up to the fans to decide that. So have you had wrestlers coming to Progress saying, when are you putting shows on? We want to get back in the ring as soon as possible.
Not particularly. I think sort of the conversations we've been having with wrestlers have just been stating our policies, our vetting processes that we're going to go through, like sort of how we'll be running the company now. And I know it's easier said than done, but like, if they are good human beings, then nothing on those codes of conduct or those safeguarding policies is going to be terrible for them.
Yeah.
Like, it's, and I've like, now you say that, actually, it's quite nice that everyone that we have been chatting to has been like, safety is the key thing for us now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
Because even if you take speaking out of the equation, COVID, like, the policies could all change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, we could be back on a second lockdown. Like, there's no consistency with it. It's just all over the shop.
Yeah. I mean, the government announced today that actually wrestling shows can happen again.
Yeah.
So what are Progress's plans for returning to action?
So Progress's plans, we're still working on policies. Like, we're working on like sort of the legal side of things, as well as making everyone safe. To be honest, like, COVID sort of policies have only just come into our heads now.
Right.
Speaking out was the main thing for us, like making sure safeguarding's in check. Like, we're speaking to like Ancroft Trust and stuff like that, just to make sure we're up to standard. And now I've got the lovely job of going through all the government COVID guidance.
Lovely.
Yeah, so that's going to be a nice little task for me. But as I said, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that stuff, so I like a challenge.
So just clarify, who else is actually now involved in the Progress management? Because it totally changed and then changed again within a couple of weeks.
John is sole owner of Progress, and then it's myself and James. It's not like, for me, like, I guess I am in that public facing role with Progress, but I'm essentially doing admin and doing policies. Like, nothing should be really being fought into my role.
Right.
In Progress, but my role in Progress is keeping everyone safe.
Right. I mean, what's it like for you as a fan to now be working in the industry?
It's a weird one. Like, it's like, on like Facebook memories this time last year, like, I was given a really lucky break with Progress. They let me do the pre-show socials for Alexandra Palace. And it's like exactly a year later, I'm now being interviewed about my role in Progress of Wrestling. So it's a bit like a lot can change in a year. But I think also on the flip side, I think now's the perfect time to have people from my background coming in and sort of seeing things from a different perspective. Because like, so like, not to throw like sort of be negative, but a lot of the views are outdated, and it's just like, get with the times. Like, like just get with the times, get with what audience members are asking, and then we can make it even better than it was before.
So with that in mind, will the actual presentation of Progress be something completely different to what it used to be?
I don't think so. Like, obviously, we need to look at like how we do present it to audiences now, because I know for myself that I won't be, getting in the ring like Jim or Matt, like saying hi to everyone. Like, that way it will not be me. So we have to think of things from that perspective. But then on the other side, you've got all this brilliant new talent that are coming up, and they're just waiting for an opportunity to run with what characters they have and what they're doing. And out of everyone, they've been sort of the key people that have got behind what we're doing, and they're like, yeah, safety's first, like I really appreciate what you're doing. And yeah, I think once shows get up and running again, it's gonna be amazing, like for them, like because even like with the time off, they've got time to sort of work on their characters, how they want to present themselves in the ring. Obviously people are doing what I call the prison yard training, like they're getting like ready, like beefed up in their backyards, like it's gonna be a different change, and I think a lot of people will want to see that and be excited for the new talent that are coming in.
So who, as a fan, off the top of your head, pick the top 5 wrestlers you want Progress to work with now that you've never seen in a Progress ring.
So, that is a hard one. Oh God. For me, like a lot of the sort of younger talent that are coming through, like Young Guns, Warren Banks, like obviously Warren Banks and Young Guns have been in a Progress ring, but like for them to be a fixed member of the roster will be amazing. I can't really think of anyone. I don't think like people.
What about the female side of things?
Oh, females. Got like Chikara. You've got Candy Floss. Got Charlie Evans. Like for us, I know one of our key things is getting that female roster, the storylines, and like really getting it going, like because obviously like it has been a bit like I'd say in all promotions, like the female rosters are a bit iffy, and it's time now for them to fucking shine. Like they've got the talent is there, the characters are there, now it's just time to put our heads down, work with the talent as well to make sure like are we setting things in place that their characters will do, and then like go from there. Like I think a thriving female roster, and even possibly like making it not necessarily male and female, just making it a roster would be a quite interesting thing as well for Progress. But obviously I can only assume these things, like I'm not really on there.
Does that mean we're going to get like an intergender title, you know? Is that a bit of an exclusive that you've just come up with?
Well, I mean, technically, Proteus, if you look at that Rumble that they had at Ali Pali, it is technically open to everyone. So, yeah, so if you look at that, that sort of, that Rumble and like storylines, if that don't necessarily mean like it would be like male versus female, but having a run with a female talent in that place with like male talent trying to come after it, like getting that storyline in place will be sick. Like, as a fan, like that's what I want to see. It's like literally that.
Yeah. So a lot of promotions have kind of, as well as doing a clean slate, have actually kind of got rid of all their champions and made all the belts vacant.
Yeah.
Is that something Progress is going to do, or are you literally going to carry on with that? Because a lot of fans aren't really sure if they like that or not, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for a lot of fans and sort of workers at the minute. Like it's one of them things, like even we're still deciding, is it just on hold, or and like we've not, like with the titles, I don't think, like because the roster members with Progress who've got titles right now are such pivotal parts of Progress. So like yeah, it's a hard one to tell. I think a lot of the time, like from now until we put on our show, we'll be trying to figure that out. Like if we go in, but at the moment, like we've still got our champions.
Okay. So last couple of questions. You seem really hopeful then for the future. Is that something that everyone at Progress, you know, you are hopeful for the future regardless of what's happened?
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, it's been tough. Like there's been like we've been in tears like most nights trying to get through this. hearing people's stories, like, but then at the same time, it's like what we're going through emotionally is not the same of what people that have bravely spoke out have gone through, and we owe it to them to make sure they've got something to return to. And that is more motivation than anything, and I'm super hopeful that it is going to return. We can return safely. We can return with safeguarding measures. One of the biggest hopes for, like, I know this is a common thing in progress as well, is to have an independent body in wrestling. Obviously that's sort of big dreams, but that is what we're working towards. And yeah, I'm super hopeful. But also I can understand at the same time a lot of people aren't so hopeful at the moment. And I think it's important to respect that as well for other people.
Okay, brilliant. All right, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Just for everyone watching, just give out all your social media stuff.
Oh, so I am loose from socials on all social medias. Progress's social medias is _progress. And yeah, just say hello if you are watching.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam.